Hey guys, welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back. If you have, my intention is unity and oneness and the highest levels of love light. I'm just going to roll right into it, and then if I have time left over, I'll do a little energy update. I am going to do a video either tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning, about some of the visions that I've been having and seeing about what's happening in our matrix, in our bodies, so on and so forth. And so that'll be, I'll be sharing that this weekend. I'm excited. I want to tell all of this stuff, but I'm just being guided just to go into flow right now. So this is not necessarily meant to be understood on a linear level. Sometimes light language will come through. It's just meant to be felt. And so there are packets of information that essentially are being dropped in, if you will. I'm seeing the owls right now from Harry Potter. The question is, will you be open to receive them, to see them for what they are? Because these packets of information will not be packaged necessarily in a beautifully wrapped sentiment box. It can be messy at times. I'm hearing you may have to dig a little deeper in order to find the jewel that is encased within the package that you are receiving. For many of these packages must be delivered undercover, if you will. For as they are received, they are then activated within a sea of collective expression, yet they are an individual piece of the puzzle. Therefore, they must be individually accessed in order to fully activate the individual that then moves forward into the collective to express and experience this collective experience. Even as we speak of packages, we bring into effect the idea of a parcel. What does that word hold in itself? For it is par for the course, if you will. Par for the course that you are on. Therefore, how you perceive this parcel of information is based on your own inner activity. Interconnectivity with the energy behind, the frequency behind that which it is that we are existing within. And when we say we are connecting to a collective realm of multidimensionality in which we are connected into. So I'm being guided to pause just for a moment. Part of this is like, I'm part of a collective, and perhaps my collective is attached to particular reality systems that are, 8th dimensional, 9th dimensional, 12th dimensional, and beyond, 5th dimensional, of course, but and they hold within them packets of information that then activate these other parcels that are within other people that are also connected to those dimensions, but it may trigger another, so everything's connected, basically. When we think of par, it is a perfected frequency, if you will, of imperfections sliding into place to then build upon one another and remember the perfection that is within the cellular matrix and the makeup of our reality. So our reality is also our body, right? Our subset of harmonics. I could go into a lot of levels, but I don't want to sidetracked. Remembering that it is not the sound, but the energy behind the sound, the intention of what is coming through. So these packets and parcels of information that hold certain concepts, realities, truths are being dropped into our field. They're being dropped into our awareness. And the more that we open ourselves up to our inner feelings, we can then feel these resources come through. We can also tap into what it is that is external of us and what other packets and parcels of information that are being pushed into our field that are not necessarily those that reveal the truth. They merely reveal an aspect of a particular reality system that is seeking approval. Makueshtek inikwa ne wakine. Bukune awa hene kiku mukweshta wakini makuawa enio kunni mawa. Kueawa enek ianiti kinikiwa amawa he nek ianawa hen. And so as we allow ourselves to play in this field, to recognize that these pieces of information are part of us, they bring us into a deeper part of us. They allow ourselves to part I'm seeing many plays on words here. They allow us to part the seas, so to speak, and to stand in the center, not being seized by fear, not being seized and held captive in a captivity or a sea of isolation, and I can fill in all kinds of blanks, of outside manifestation outside of us, the manifestations, the infestation of man, so to speak. We say this with compassion, for compassion is the key in all of this. It is the compass for humanity. For humanity is now seeing itself on a deeper level of mankindness rather than the false identity, false identification with the infestation of lower perpetuating frequencies of violation. For these vile, if you will, frequencies, these vials of frequencies that are being pushed into the harmonic body of mankind, of humankind, that seek to distort the hues, the rays, the frequency of patterns, is not operating in the way that it was presented. Yet, mankind is, again, opening its own presence, its own gifts, its own inner compass is now blooming. So what I'm seeing is it's causing this cleansing in the body, pushing out all toxicities, and again, just all this stuff is just coming up. And as within, so without. Torstak or amak or aitik or dit ishtik hier at ek or amakora. Tik or amadistor ok or netikir araku makobor anetistor ora. Memories are also surfacing. So as we swim through the sea of toxicity from one perspective, we clear the wave. We clear the way. We become the clear wave of compassionate resources for those who cannot see clearly. Yet, we must stand true within our own hue. So as I say, I'm saying hue, our own humanity, our own compassion, our own compass. I'm seeing the compass rose, our truth in centered relevancy, play on words, our dance, right? Revitalization. Hue. When I say hue, it's a sound and a color. So we're standing true in our own rainbow. We're standing true in our own inner sound, our resoundance, our resonance, right? And we're accessing this frequency. And one of the biggest frequencies right now is green, this emerald consistency, this M are all, we are all, M, I am, the all. And then I'm hearing the musical notes, the musical colorations are helping us to move through the distortion. We're moving through the illusion. We're moving from inner to outer, and we're starting to pick up on what's outside of us as being a false system that is, it's exposing itself, but it's exposing us also. It's exposing these inner layers and truths of humanity's, our own individuality, but also the truth of humanity as a race, right? So I'm hearing it's erasing from one point these deeper conjectures, and that's just a play on words. Kur amashtukur et ishtek erhak anak ur ushtarhar et ik ura. Tira aurora atitinakur ishte warahan nikirash tekirora ne kupor. Dirhak ishtur makur enetit ir. And so we feel into our own human form. For even as we are this forming bandwidth, if you will, this forming, I could go into so many different layers here. We form through this new cellular reformation, reconformation, reconfirmation. Okay, I've been having a lot of messages about a lot of things with having to do with confirmation, rapture, cellular activity, crystal lattice work, but I'm seeing all of this as I talk about it. As we allow ourselves to express from this compassionate human frequency and seeing the human within everyone, seeing within them their own color mapping sets, if you will, their own colors that they have chosen to express into their field, it allows us to feel into their frequency and, in some cases, ignite within them a new color of frequency. Recognizing that this is well beyond, way beyond physical form. For the physical form is only one representation of an aspect of our reality. Yet many of us have not seen past the physical form. And so there will be certain subsets and complexities that arise in our field that have no compartmentalization. They cannot be placed into a particular category, for as a human, we have not necessarily seen these patterns before. We have not necessarily played with these networks that have become available to us, and as we tune into them, they tune into us. As we tune into them, we turn our awareness to them, we then turn our own wheel, if you will, into a multidimensional expression in the field of expansiveness that we are now feeling. And as we pass through this, I'm hearing this too shall pass. As we pass through this, we allow all that we have accessed in the past that have distorted our field to be integrated, to be steered. We steer through it. I'm seeing a reference to the horns of a bull. Oh, no, it's rams. Horns. It's information. Ram, R-A-M. Ram, you know, the sound. Kur amater, kur stor am kore netea. And as we allow ourselves to steer our chips, if you will, our chips, our information, our microchips into the macro, into the world, we then clear the distortions that we are, that we have at times So much is coming through. I'm hearing we're having clarifications on the distortions. We then feel what those distortions are and we turn and say, no, thank you. We integrate them as part of our past. And we recognize that they no longer hold the same patterns that are cohesive. They can't stick. I'm rubber, you're glue. You guys have heard. Bounces off me and sticks back on you. It can no longer hold us. For as we break through these barriers, we recognize that we have ignited within us a rise of such expansive expression. I'm hearing expulsion, expollution. Okay, I could play with this. I have to go back one day and type up all of these and go into the deeper layers, but that's fairly time consuming. I'm seeing expulsion. I'm seeing it's pushing us like rocket fuel. I'm seeing as it pushes us, it increases our pulse. I'm hearing expulsion. Expulse, ion. I was writing a while ago about a star, a quasar, and I've been writing about quasi and quasar crystal lattice work alignments. It's like it's expulsing, it's pulsing, right? So this has to do with Kundalini, the Kundalini fire of expression. It has to do with pulling up what is out of balance. It has to do with pushing us through this membrane of false realities that are essentially mapped into our brain because of habit patterns that we've synced ourselves up with time and time and time again. But time is interacting differently with us. We are interacting differently with it because we are essentially creating it from one perspective. So I keep hearing that song, Time is on My Side, right? So it's like we're then creating this new system and we're creating it in the now moment. So it's going to feel like we're purging and whatever is still trying to sync up or map into this old network is what I'm seeing. It's going to be really obvious to some of us. And I'm hearing it's going to feel really... I'm just like hearing blood coursing through our veins. Like it's going to give us the opportunity to just peg it and go, nope, no thank you. That is not what I'm creating. That is not in my reality complex anymore. It may have been part of it. I may have agreed to it at some point. I may have agreed to play in this distorted field in order to access a particular experience that then helped me to pulse, to push through, and to integrate karmic resolution, to play out particular dramatizing. I'm hearing certain dramas held certain seismic activities that allowed us to map into a linear frequency that then created an opportunity and ability for us to create patterns that then allowed our senses to have a different experience, like play out certain dramas, right? Because that allowed us to have that experience. Now moving forward, we now recognize the experiences that no longer fit. You know, it's like going back to high school, right? Do any of us really want to go back to high school? I know I don't. Or grade school for that matter. And I'm hearing there's a lot of people saying that's kind of the theme song right now, right? I had a session the other day with someone and it was really strong for their partner. They were hearing this song, I wish I could turn back time. How does it go? I know I'm way off key. To the good old days. Make money, 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 make money, right? So it's like, that song's actually a really great song. Who sings it? My name is Blurry Face. And I don't care what you think. I could take a line from that song and apply it to everything right now. my name is Blurry Face. I don't care what you think. Like, it doesn't matter. That's not who I'm in this space. I'm dealing with my own shit. That's what I'm hearing. But there are those who are like, I want to go back. And I think in that song they say, I could go, wish I could turn back time to the good old days. And it's like, they want to be in their mother's arms again. They want to be kids again. But now they're stuck in this reality where they're being pushed to make money and you're not allowed to do this. And they're talking about they had these ideas of rocket ships, right? So I'm seeing all this play, like what part of that resonates with us right now? And that is an attachment into an old system. And so some people are feeling really lost right now because they're so attached to that old system that they are not sure what's happening. Like, what is going on? What does this mean? And so that's where others of us are really being required to come in with our compassion, our compass of compassion. Because this is allowing us to stimulate a deeper passion. And as I hear this, I hear the passion of the Christ. And that's a play on words, by the way, you guys. Everything is not to be taken literally, although I have been talking a lot about the rapture. But it's literally this passion of Christmas, of a mass consciousness of this crystal, this crysted frequency. I'm hearing the crystal lattice work that is letting us work together to illuminate humanity. And this is not to be taken in a form of hierarchy. I am better than because they haven't gotten there yet. Because at any given moment, that person can flip-flop and all of a sudden come into our lives and gift us with the parcels of encouragement that we might need because something came up from our own structure that was like, whoa, I didn't realize I was going to be so triggered by that. Or, oh, I'm in a deep state of grief right now. I'm hearing there's a lot of people that are grieving and that they haven't acknowledged that they're grieving. And so it could come as this giant wave, and all of a sudden this other person that we may have been holding space for, compassionately, not pointing our finger, but just this, not this, or go over here, do this. That's the old paradigm. You have to do things this way. That is not multidimensionality, how we're playing with it now, from my perspective. And it may have been very relevant in an old society, is what I'm hearing. But that is no longer how we're playing this new game. But because the old game is still playing out, it's been played out, but it still has to finish, is what I'm being guided to just kind of share. So there's some that are going to be just completely, but then all of a sudden they're going to have that push, and I'm being guided to go back to push. Dun, 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 dun. Salt and pepper. You guys just play in with all of this. So essentially what I'm being shown is that it's going to push us through this next layer, right? I lost but that person's they're going to break through, and then they're going to feel like, oh, well, maybe I'm here for you now. Not that we're here for others. We are, but we're not. We're also here for our own journey. So it's equally important that we are giving ourselves this support as well. I'm being guided just to share briefly what I saw, and I'll draw this tomorrow, but I was shown that we have this matrix around us. If you picture a square within a square, I don't know if you guys, I kind of drew this, it's terrible artwork, but so that's a lattice work of a crystal. Two things, I'll repeat this on my next video. Not to get stuck on the shape. There's a tendency for us to go into that left logical brain. Well, are we in a cube or are we in a hexagon? Is it trigonal or is it hexagonal? That's not necessarily what the purpose of this drawing was. It's to share those little nodes. If you look up a crystal lattice work and you look at the lines that cross and the nodes that hold them together, what I've been shown is it's, and I'm also being shown the bridge in the ladders in Harry Potter. You know how in Harry Potter, the movies where they're at Hogwarts, I I like Harry Potter, what can I say? And they move, like the ladder will go over here, but then all of a sudden it'll go over here and then it'll go up there. Or there's that famous painting with the ladders going in all these different directions. I'm being shown that's what's happening to our bodies, and that's what's happening to the crystal lattice work. Quasi-crystal system keeps coming up for me a lot. And so I'll do a video on that a little bit. But my point is, what I was shown was this, it's inner to outer. So there's this energy that's being, let's say, pushed into our system or has come up into our system. And I'm not going to label it. We could label it as a particular outside entity, or we could label that energy that has corrupted our crystallized system. And when I say that, it comes back to Christ realized, our realization that we have this seed within us of this crysted frequency, right? The Christmas tree, the pineal gland, how our body works. It's like that allows us to bring that Kundalini fire up, activates everything, and allows us to activate the crown, right? Root to crown, and allows us to connect all of our access points. You think of a cross, right? Through the heart. So, metaphorically, so what happens is we have that as within, so without. So we also have that structure around us energetically from one perspective, from what I'm being shown. So what happened was there was this kind of energy that we'll call it, we could call it a cancerous type energy. Fear, anger, shame, self-doubt, and that was seeded in our reality. And I know that I don't want to go into too much because I'm going to repeat this all in another video, but I was just shown that it flowered and it created this dark vine within many people, and it was creating a rotten energy. This is a rotten energy that was in many of us, or felt like it was, and it was expressed outside of us in the matrix that we've been existing within. There's been a lot of beauty too. It hasn't all been rotten, but this is just one aspect that then shows up for us in dis-ease. And I'll go into more detail later. Make a long story short, I was shown that that ended up inverting on itself and essentially created this like rotten energy. But because we've activated these deeper layers of this heart, compassion, and frequency of love, that then has come back. And it's like, okay, we're going to integrate that, what did I say? We're going to integrate that darkness or shadow. We're going to digest that, and we're going to merge it with this light frequency, because that is not, it is a reality. It's a real thing because we created it and made it thus, made it so be it, right? But now we're coming back into remembering, wait a minute, I am a crystalline being of love. Wait a minute, I've had previous lifetimes. Wait a minute, that doesn't feel right. This feels more in alignment with who I really am now, in the new game, in the new way of things. And so as we remember this, it reactivates whatever was crystallized, such as the pineal gland. It reactivates it and allows it to crack open out of this geometry that superimposed itself over our body, our reality, our system. We could call it the false, whatever it is. And now that inversion, right, those that still have that spark, is now opened up and is coming back up. So it's like reversing from one perspective, a timelessness, reversing what has been falsely and created. And this is all kind of a very multi-dimensional look at things, because I could break down each of those and say, no, it was real, no, it was false, the grid looked like this, the matrix looked like that. That's not relevant. Bottom line is, what are we doing to fuel our inner compassion, to guide us as our compass, so that we can be a still point for ourselves first? And in doing that, we become a still point for others to gravitate towards, right? We're not doing it from, I need to fix this person or this reality. We're just doing it because we're just doing it. And inevitably, we're then drawn toward one another and activate within each other the higher human potential, the higher colors of frequency and sound that then activates this remembrance, and all these packets of information that are being dropped into our field are then like, bing, that one's opened. Bing, that one's open. So that's in the next video that I'll go into, but I just wanted to kind of share that. So I'm just gonna set my intention now to kind of end this. I always kind of just clear all fields in my space and just coming back into my heart. And I set my intention to be in my heart and connect fully to Source and Mother Earth, Gaia. And so I'm just gonna hold this space for a moment and end on this note, this sound, this color, this frequency. Shtuko e moe te ko moa wahena. Mo ke ne wahana. And so it is. Namaste.